So just like last year, I went to Superbooth on the Friday and honestly was blown away by all the things on show. And again, just like last year, I'm going to do a full recap of the things that really stood out to me. Just to clarify right off the bat, one, this isn't sponsored. None of these brands had a say in what I'm about to say. But also, this is not a full deep dive. I spent quite a lot of time this time in the main hall. I did also go to the tents and upstairs into the side rooms, but quite a bit of it was spent in the main hall because of the stuff I was really interested in finding for my music. So as a result, sadly, there are some things I didn't get to see. A good example of that is the Moog Messenger. It looked like a great piece of kit, but all I saw was people playing them. Because when I went to the Moog booth, the multiple times I did, you just had no chance of getting to it. So there are some things missing from this list because I just couldn't get a chance to try them. There were also some booths from people that I've spoke to before who sadly I didn't get a chance to speak to them. Kongburn and Flowfall being good examples of that. Sadly, I just never got a chance to see it. With that said though, there were a lot of really cool new things that I did get to see, and some things I think might apply to my music really well. I do have a notepad with notes this time because there's a lot to get through here. And we're going to start with one I've already actually done a video on. Depending on the order these come out in, or the order you watch them in, this one might already be out. But we're talking about tangible waves. Now this is a big reason why I go. It's no secret that AE Modular is a key factor in my live and recording setup, and it's great to speak with all of the builders and to see all the new things coming. And this year was no exception. Some fantastic modules in the pipeline. I noticed within that you were using the very interesting prototype that you posted about on Instagram, the Wave.
The new Wave 82 module. It's super amazing. I'm super happy about it. It's a complete 8 voice polyphonic wavetable synthesizer. So not only an oscillator, but a complete synthesizer. It has 2 oscillators per voice. It has 3 envelopes per voice, 4 LFOs, and it has in total 80 parameters. So it's quite a lot to tweak and change, and it's a really super powerful module, and brings A Modular to a complete new level.
Fantastic. It even just looks incredible. Am I right in saying the first Tangible Waves module that isn't black or grey? Is this the first coloured module?
Yeah, in fact, yeah. I mean, it's available also in a regular A Modular style. That is the regular modular.
That looks brilliant as well.
But because it is inspired so much by the PPG wave,
Yeah.
I had to make this blue front panel and somehow mimic the PPG style because it's fun. Yeah.
Brilliant. It looks brilliant. Well, thank you very much for doing the demo. I really appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
No problem. Thanks.
So new on mostly on the MIDI front, to be honest. Start from the beginning. We have a new MIDI input and output module, which is the TRS input output, and then a smaller MIDI input module which extracts 8 channels, either 1 to 8 or 9 to 16, for example. So we've now got that. What used to be the MB1 is now kind of in a 2/3 size. Here we've got the output of this going to another new module, which is the PA4, the polyphonic assigner. So here I've coupled this up with, so we have MIDI input and 4 MIDI outputs. And the MIDI outputs are driving 4 MCO, the MIDI controlled oscillators. So when you play a new note, it cycles through those oscillators. So we can tweak the envelopes. You can hear, and they're overlapping quite nicely. And you can even play chords if you into that kind of music with notes. So one thing I just passed over here was another thing which I showed at Synthfest. This is a slightly enhanced version, but will be available soon. Is the quad envelope. So that kind of makes sense with the polyphonic stuff, that you want all your voices to have the same shape. So 2 controls, attack and release. Etc. Yeah, that's quite fun. And then the other MIDI thing we have is the CVMX, which is converting CVs and triggers, gates into MIDI messages. So what I've got set up here is the CVMX has some trigger messages which are sending out, in this case, specific notes, but they could be from voltages, from other CV gate pairs. And I'm triggering it from the topograph. And then what I have here is an external synthesizer, nice, the NTS1. So if I kick off the topograph, so it's now spitting out notes, I can. So now I've got an external synthesizer, so that when I was playing with this at home, I was using driving soft synths on my laptop, which is a bit counterintuitive, but
Still something new that you can bring to the modular.
yeah. And then of course in this case the audio is going back into the A modular, so you can then affect it again. I mean, okay, in this case that's a bit redundant because we have a nice delay and nice effects on the NTS1, but yeah. But it does mean that you can use things like the C8 or 16 or any other source of control voltages to now sequence external devices.
Oh.
So you might have LFOs, but it also sends out CCs, so you can like modulate, filter cutoffs, and all these other things which you might have on a external
Opens
device.
up a lot for the system, that.
Yeah.
A lot of possibilities that weren't there before.
And that's kind of enabled what this thing here with the input and the output. So now you've got generation, which is quite fun.
Brilliant. Well, thanks very much for doing the demo on that.
No problem.
Great to see you again.
First of all, thanks Gavin for stopping by. Let's have a nice chat about 2 new modules we have with BF Synths. So we got 2 new ones, the percolator and the LED chaos. So the percolators, I have 2 here. And right now they are triggered over MIDI. So you can see I can trigger all 8 of them with my Digitakt with just 1 cable. So I have 1 cable running the internal MIDI,
and that's able to trigger all 4 envelopes depending on which notes I play. So that's why there's C, D, E, and F here. It's decay only, because the idea is I always needed more envelopes for percussive stuff, like little bleeps, little bloops, hi-hats, kick drum, and so on. And so I tried to make something super compact. So we managed to cram 4 decay-only envelopes in 1 U. So the attack is super short to get super punchy and plucky drums. So I have here, this is my kick drum. Which I have here. I have a snare, I have a hi-hat, I have an open hi-hat. These are the wonky drums. And for example here, I have a weird synth sound, which comes from the 2 oscillator. But you can not only, of course, trigger via MIDI, you can also trigger, well, first of all, manually with the buttons. And you also have trigger inputs, both trigger inputs and gate inputs. The trigger inputs will convert any signal, square wave for example, they will convert it to a super short trigger, and the gate input will stay, it's the opposite kind of, it stays high as long as your input is high, and then it goes into a release phase actually once you let go of the input. And then our second module, you can see some more blinky lights here. That's the LED chaos, and you can hear it. So you can hear that. This is the filter cutoff modulated by the LED. If I pull out one LED, for example, now I get a super slow, chaotic CV source. And when you plug in more LEDs, it gets crazier and crazier. So this is a second LED that will... And there are 3 LEDs in total, and depending on which ones you plug in, you get different chaos, basically. So it's a super simple module. You have one potentiometer to like search for a sweet spot. It's kind of a attenuator and a boost in one. So it's very useful, the potentiometer. So both of these modules should go on sale over on the Tindy page from this weekend onwards. The percolator is already online. The LED chaos probably very soon. By the time this video comes out, it should be online already. Then we have another surprise. That's this one. A lot of you might know it already, the Euclid Grid. Euclidean trigger sequencer by Kia from Tom's. And he got a lot of questions lately when he would be doing a new run, because he's abroad right now. He's no longer in his workshop, he's in Japan. And he asked us if we wanted to do a run for him. So Gregory went on to make 15 of the Euclid Grid. So there will be a new run sold on our Tindy page as well. So it's the same module as the last iteration of the Euclid Grid. I can... So this is all coming from the rack. And I can trigger everything with just the 8 channels of my Digitact. With just the 2 percolators. They are doing all the MIDI triggering.
Fantastic.
Yeah, just like that.
Thank you very much for doing the demo.
My pleasure, thanks for stopping by.
So I'm Henrik, and I go under the name Symbolic Circuit when I build modular modules, and I've been doing it for maybe like 2 years. I've been trying, and I have some modules to show. Some of them are like very beta, some are slightly less beta. So what I have is I have these LED modules, EU meters, that are just for showing like signal intensity, and they are both AC and DC, and they're fun. They are small, and they work as buffers as well. So they're going to be available at like.
So they work as buffers as well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great
it's
feature.
like 4 buffers with 2 outputs
Perfect.
and like 2 channels. And then another one I'm working on is, I call it the square organ. It's a oscillator. It's a square wave that then goes in like a clock that goes into the divider. So it's 4 square waves of 4 octaves that you then mix together with these faders, and it has a very squarey video gamey sound. But then right now it's only 1 voice, but I'm going to fix it so that it has 2 like unison voices. Right now I'm just emulating it with another one, and when you have 2, you get a pretty fat sound. It is quite nice. So I'm playing on that. It's still a bit left to go before it's done, but I like it. It's really fun to play with. But then I have another more fun module, which is my switch capacitor filter module. So this is a Butterworth, and I also have elliptical filters as well. These are quite fun because these like Max 7400 chips. So this is a standard Butterworth. It's a 5th order, so it has a 30 decibel, which is not bad. But wait. This is the elliptic one, and it's an 82 decibel per octave. So it's like a full-on brick wall. If you feed it in a square wave and you like sweep the frequency, you can hear how the different harmonics come in one by one because it's so incredibly tight. And it's also quite crazy. You can actually see here that it has a lot of like what's called a ripple in the passband, and that is why they are not used for audio stuff that often, because they sound very crazy. And wow. Yeah, so it's very fiddly with exactly where you go, and it has 2 modes of feedback. I call it feedback and faffback. So one is very much like overdriving.
Very pretty. It's great.
Yeah, very overdriving, and the other is more of a traditional resonance, where you have the sort of like self-oscillation. That is quite like aggressive and pronounced.
Yeah.
And that is, I will show you another trick later with it, but it's quite fun because it's all this ripple in the passband. When I was building it, I was like, will it even work if you have a feedback? Because like, will it just distort like crazy or like resonate like crazy? So I thought, okay, I will try to have a mode where it does a destructive feedback instead of constructive feedback. So I implemented it, like not having any idea of what it would sound like. And it turned out that it sounded really cool. And I will show you another thing that's really fun. It is very like fiddly, the filter to find like a sweet spot. So here I have the drum kit 101. Yeah, we have all heard this sound. But then if we just pass it through the elliptic filter.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I know, it's so fun. It works perfectly.
Gets that clicky top end on the kick,
Yeah.
like an acoustic kick
Yeah,
drum.
it has it's a perfect distortion for a kick. And then this is if you put it in normal resonance mode, then you don't hear anything. But if you put it in the faffback, it is really nice. It gets a really crazy. Because what's actually happening is you're just getting like an overdrive or like a distortion, but that has a very strange frequency response.
Yeah.
Which works. It's really fun. I was really blown away when I.
It almost sounds like an Akai drum
Oh
machine.
yeah.
When you add that to it, it's got that click,
Yeah.
like a sample based rather than.
Yeah. And then I have this one, which I'm working on, which is in a very beta state right now, which is my like master module, I call it. And it started out with a quest to solve a problem that I've been having for a long time, ever since I started doing synthy stuff. And that is that like I've just had like a key step or other sequencers where I've just had one sequencer, but you have multiple synthesizers. So you like make a nice little boogie-doo melody and you want to add drums, but you can't because you don't have anything. So this does both MIDI to CD, and it has both a pitch channels and also the drums. So, and it has 4 CV gate pairs out, gate channels out that are configurable. So like in the standard default mode, it's 2 channels that are monophonic, but you can also just like reset it, and now it is polyphonic 4 voices, but now I don't have a polyphonic patch, but the MIDI routing voice silent is 4 voices. And so it has multiple ones like this, but also the big thing then is that it has a step sequencer built in. That should in theory be very nice, but it's in practice a little nightmare. It's a bit rough, but it will be nice. So like I can put it in, I can select the drum channel, I will shorten the thingies, and then I can go and make a little drum beat. And we can play this, not fun, but it works. And then we go back, we select the pitch channel, we shorten the thing a bit, and then we can type something in. And then I can play both at once. And it has another thing that's really nice. It should be really nice. It's quite annoying to use right now, but it will in theory be nice. And that is that when you're sequencing a sequence, so you click a note to add it, but if you hold down the note and click the notes around it, you change parameters of the note. So in the default mode, if I like click here, I make the note shorter or longer by just modifying the gate length. If I hold it down and press record, I change the velocity. And if I press record twice, I do some timing adjustments. So you can do, it's really nice so that you can then do some articulations, and you can do like a half-assed even break without having to go down like super into the, like having a high subdivision count. Right now it's a bit like trying to play Super Mario blindfolded. It's extremely difficult to like remember what channel you're on, like what step in the sequence you're on, like what mode you have the modifier set to. So I'm going to augment the module a bit. I don't want to add a screen because that is like cheating, so I'm gonna add a few more LEDs just to give some indication of like where in the pattern you are and like what mode you're in and hopefully make it. But yeah.
Brilliant.
I think that's everything about all the stuff I've been. Yeah.
Brilliant. Where can people find you?
Oh, on I'm going under the name Symbolic Circuits, and you can find it on Instagram just by looking for Symbolic Circuits. I also have an Electron store where I sell the bus body right now, but it's run out. Eventually I'll sell other stuff. I'm also on the Discord as the grandmother and on the forum. But if you want to contact me about AE related stuff, then it's the Instagram, Symbolic Circuits. That is the best one. Yeah.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much.
Yeah, they were so fun. Thank you. Thank you.
Great.
Brilliant. Well, we're going to get a catch up now with Carsten from the 5th Volt. Now, if you're new to the AE Modular, this is the channel you need to watch. It was what I learnt from when I was first using this system. It's essential viewing, in my opinion. So this is Carsten. Thank you very much for having a chat.
Well, thank you, Kevin, for having a chat with me. I have to say that I'm learning from your videos as well, because you're actually a real musician. Whereas I just dabble,
We'll use that term loosely.
I just stick in cables where I think they belong, and I try things out, and then I post it on the channel and hope that someone will like it. So,
well, we do. We definitely do. Well, I had a couple of questions really based around that. First off, you have done so many great tutorials for the Modular. Have you got any tips for someone who's just starting out? Maybe someone who's looked at the Modular system today at Superbooth and has gone, I want to pick one of them up. Where do I start?
Well, the biggest advice I have is to just start. Don't think about it, don't overthink it, and don't think that, don't think like a perfectionist, because there is no perfection in modular, right? You have cracks, things go out of tune, you have strange effects because voltages overlap. I find that especially if you step up and mix more and more voices together, your mixers are getting overloaded, and then suddenly you have like voice stealing, which is crazy in the analog world. So just don't overthink and just start.
Great advice.
And also, you don't have to be a musician. Like, I'm not a musician. I never learned to play any instrument. I tried to learn scales and music theory, and it's impossible for me to just get my head around it. So I just listen. I try things out. I listen. Yeah, I like that sound. Let's see if I can make another sound that fits to it in some way that I like. I don't know if anyone else will like it, but if I like it, it's good. And that's would be my advice. Just don't not start.
Perfect advice. I'm going to readjust this because that was ambitious holding it at that height. I'm definitely not that strong. You said something interesting there, that your background is not as a musician. So what was it about the modular that attracted you, or the A modular in particular, to get going? Was that your first foray into making music? Or?
No, I actually tried to make music a lot of times. I tried to learn the guitar, I tried to learn the piano twice. Actually, I tried to learn the guitar twice. I have a ukulele. I collect musical instruments that I never play. But I actually, since I'm 12 years old, I wanted always to play a synthesizer. But my parents didn't want to get me one, and then I had to learn the guitar, and then I had no money, and then I had no time. And then I saw the Modular documentary, I Dream of Wires.
Oh, brilliant.
And so I bought this from the Kickstarter when it came out on Kickstarter. And I thought, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to do. But I had just moved to Australia, I had just started a startup company, I had 2 kids and a mortgage and absolutely no money. So I thought, how can I get into modular, because it's so expensive.
That is such a big point. That is so expensive, especially if you don't know where to start.
Yeah.
It seems like you need everything, when in reality you don't.
That's right. So I started building, I got a few guys together and we did a club where we started DIY kits, Eurorack DIY. And then I made a mistake and all my self-built modules went up in flames because it's high voltage in these systems, right? You put a power supply in which gets full 220 volts, and then it takes it to -12 and +12, which is still a lot.
Yeah.
And you can fry your modules by making a mistake on the power rail, which I did. And then I found a modular. And I thought, 0 to 5 volts, yeah, I can deal with that. That's like the Lego train set has 0 to 5 volts. And I survived that as a kid. So that's what and then I called Robert and say, can I work with you? And that's how it all started.
Good stuff. Look where it's gone.
Yeah, well, I'm really proud of the people who joined the forum. I have to say it's the community that brings the system forward, and I mean, they're great guys like you, Gavin, right? I mean, you put it on the stage. You combine it with other instruments, which was a huge step, because the A modular was a noise machine in the beginning, right? And it didn't play well with anything. I mean, if I put my first A modular system with an untunable VCO and next to like any other synth, they're always out of tune. I could never tune them, and it was either this or that. But actually having them to play together, that really takes dedication, time, and knowledge. So it's really important to have musicians like yourself combining these things together, right? And then the third party came out of it. People started building their own modules, and then we had the community albums on Bandcamp, where I've been exposed to genres that I didn't even know existed. But like, do I like this? I don't actually have to make that judgment, because someone likes it. The person who made this likes it.
For people who don't know what just happened there, my arm got too tired, so we'll swap hands.
It's incredibly hard to hold the camera up. You're doing a great job. So no, it's really the community that is so important. And I just put up the tools where people can connect, and I just, sometimes, very, very few times I enforce the rules. And the Discord channel is really active, which is managed by Slowscape from Santa Barbara. I don't have anything to do with it, and it just works.
Perfect.
It's really good.
Good stuff. Well, just because I don't want to keep up too much of your time, where can people find out more about what you do and your channel altogether?
So you can find me on the Fifth Vault. That's the and number 5, Fifth Vault, on all social media. So on Instagram mostly and YouTube mostly. I also have a website, thefifthvault.com, and but you can just find me on the forum. I'm admin at the forum, so if you have any questions, just PM me, and I'll be happy to help out anyone, especially if you're starting out, because I started out, so I know exactly how you feel.
And of course, we've got Riskit as well, who's not here today, but he does fantastic videos.
Riskit, man, when he came on the scene and made his videos, I was blown away by the production quality. And he's also a musician.
Mm-hmm.
And I just defer to his videos now, and he asked me, he said, is it okay? I said, of course it is. Your videos are awesome. Then I don't have to do them anymore. You do them now. And he's doing a great job.
Yeah, they are incredible videos that he does.
And if you don't find Riskit on YouTube, just go to the newsletter, the blog on the Tangible Waves website, where I always promote his videos and your videos and everyone's videos. I'm basically just everyone's biggest fan. That's my job.
I think all of the AE feel the same way about your videos, to be honest. Well, I think we all started with those. One other question, not I can't even say it, not AE modular related, but what's the smartest thing, your favourite thing you've seen at the event so far that isn't from Tangible Waves or from a third party?
So there's a guy in this hall who does a little video synthesizer. And Sleepy Cat, I think it's called.
Right, yeah.
And it's a Raspberry Pi based little standalone unit that has CV inputs and HDMI outputs, and has a little display where you can arrange your video glitchy stuff. And for me, in my videos, I always thought about putting more visual effects into it to make it more interesting when you have a long track. And I never could figure out how to do it in software because and he made it look very, very simple and very easy. So that would be the thing that I want to go back to.
Great.
And that's on the market.
Really good shout, that one.
Yeah.
Right, well, thanks very much for doing the chat, and enjoy the rest of the event.
No, thank you, Gavin, for having me.
No problem.
And listen to this guy's albums. He's awesome.
Very kind.
So I hope you enjoyed that. It was great to be able to talk to everyone. I just want to take a moment to thank Robert from Tangible Waves, Carsten from the Fifth Volt, John from Wonky Stuff, Zeno and Gregory from BF Synth, and Henrik from Symbolic Circuits for all doing their videos with the channel. It was so much fun speaking to everyone, seeing all the new modules, seeing all the work that's gone into building this system into what it is now. I've said it before and I'll say it again, it's a massive part of my live rig. I don't think my rig would work without the AE modular, and it's just so great to see it growing the way it is. Staying on a similar topic to that, there was 2 breadboard based modular systems, the Micro Rack Synth and the Breadboard Modular. Now, the Micro Rack uses Eurorack standard, -12, +12 volts, and the breadboard one, as far as I'm aware, is 0 to 5 volts. Just like the Tangible Waves. So again, following in some instances a similar standard. These ones though using typical breadboards like you'd buy for prototyping a synth or a pedal or just an electronic circuit, and you plug these modules into that. A great idea. Now, I wasn't actually able to get a chat with Breadboard Modular. Again, someone else I never got a chance to chat with because of how busy it was. But I did manage to find Micro Rack, and we got a short chat with them about their system. So let's check that out now.
From Micro Rack project, it's the tiniest modular synthesizer in the entire world. And we're fully compatible with Zero Rack, but has a very small size. We use a breadboard for putting a model in. It's like a rack, and you can buy it everywhere. So yeah, you put it here, and then you can patch it with these tiny wires, like another small system like a modular or maybe cork modular Volca. So yeah, we have about 20 models already. Filter, oscillator, envelope generator, and so on. Also, we have this adapter for Eurorack case. So you can put it in Eurorack and put a breadboard inside it, connect it, and that's it. It's fully compatible with Eurorack. We have an adapter, just a passive adapter, from Eurorack side to our pins, and so on. Yeah, we found everything on our website, macrorack.org. So yeah. And we have also Instagram, so you can check it, some reels, some stuff about us. We already had a forum, and after the Superbooth we start pre-orders, so we can buy all the stuff, and I think in the middle of summer you can get your models. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much for doing that.
Now we're going to move on to another key part of my music, pedals. And just like last year, Chase Bliss were there with a massive selection of the pedals they make across a few different rigs. There was also a small display from Eventide as well, but the real standouts for me this year were Beetronics and Crazy Tube Circuits. Beetronics had what looked like their full lineup of pedals available to check out, but the one that they were showing off that really stole the show was their brand new pedal, released I think at Superbooth. This was the BBD delay. Now, again, it's a delay pedal, but it does so much more. It's a delay that has multiple settings and multiple types of delay in it, but it also has modulation and it has pitch shifting, has really intelligent tap tempo and almost freeze elements, self-oscillation. There was so much shown that, honestly, this is a pedal that really is more than just a delay pedal. And just like all the Beetronics pedals, it looked incredible. And sticking with pedals, Crazy Tube Circuits had a massive selection of their lineup, plugged into both a synth and a drum machine. It was actually really cool to hear some of their pedals on a drum machine, something I've been working with a lot lately, and it was really cool to see that at the booth. Some of their key pedals that stood out to me were the Sidekick Junior, which is a 2-in-1 pedal, also kind of a 3-in-1 pedal. So you can use it as a 2-in-1 delay and reverb, and there's a modulation section that could be applied to either of those. But there's also an external foot switch jack, which allows you to use the modulation as a standalone effect. So with an external foot switch, it's a 3-in-1 pedal. Great idea, really compact, looks really smart, sounds great. One I'm definitely interested in. Sticking with that style of effect, they also had the Mirage Reverb, which is capable of natural and ambient reverb algorithms. It's stereo, or rather it's a dual reverb. It can either run in stereo, or you can also actually run it in series to get stacked reverbs. And finally, another reverb from them, the White Whale, which is a genuine spring reverb pedal. Sounded great on the drum machine, and again one that I was quite interested in. And finally on the pedal front, not really a pedal, but more of a desktop effect, was the Desk Presser by Voikas. I think I'm saying that right. I could be saying it wrong, but this was really smart. It's again a desktop effect, but it's more like a live performance compressor. He had Ableton Live tracks, I think it was Ableton, running through it, and it sounded great. Looks really smart as well. Back onto synths, Dreadbox had the Artemis synth with them. They also had their other small form synthesizers and their modular modules. They had their modules with them. That's what I'm trying to say. All that was really cool. But the Artemis, I can see why there's a buzz around this synth. It sounds incredible. Really, really cool sounding synth. It's a 6-voice. I'm going to check my notes. Yep. It's a 6-voice analog synth that just sounds great. Really compact. The desktop synth seemed to really be a thing this year, and this was a really, really cool one. And sticking with the desktop synths, Magella had a black version of the Implexus. This was really cool. Not only does it aesthetically look great with the moving light dials, and this new version, unlike the white one, apparently took even more work to get the aesthetic right because it was multiple forms of anodization. Really tricky and a lot of work put in just to make it look as cool as it does. But the big thing for this synth is that wave folder. That combined with the cutoff and resonance knobs from the filter and the sub control on the filter made this really gritty and kind of aggressive sounding synth that just works great, I think, for bass lines and leads. This thing sounded incredible. Another one of these desktop synths was the Beetle Crab Audio Vector. Sounded great, looks great, big screen on it so you can see exactly what's going on, and a lot of controls that were well labelled, so although it's digital and it's got the screen, it is very user friendly, sounded great, looks like it's incredibly well built, and there was also a Scotland connection at the booth which was really good while being away. And one more desktop synth while we're out it was a new prototype from Morpher. Don't know if I'm saying that right, but it was a BBD based synthesizer. So it ran a synth through a BBD circuit and it sounded great. Jumping to Novation now with possibly the most aesthetically pleasing booth. They had a new colour scheme for the Base Station 2. This was the Swifty colour scheme, not that Swifty, but rather Ian Swift. Highly recommend looking at their Instagram posts because they explain the connection there way better than I could, with some great photographs showing you the background of making this aesthetic. Really, really cool. I think the colour scheme looks great. They also showed the new launch control, which has faders for controlling Ableton. Again, a great studio tool, I think, but also great for live use. And they also had the white launch key control keyboard, which looked really great too. Zoom had a great display of all of their field recorders, including the new podcasting on-the-go setup. But the big standout for them, in my opinion, is the Live Track 6. It's a compact version of the mixer I've been using, and a real contender for the one that I might get for my small live rig. There's a great one that I didn't get to see from IntelliGel, and also Create Audio have just brought out a new one as well. So this small performance mixer market is kind of getting a bit interesting, let's just say. There's a lot of really great options. I haven't tried the others, but just from what I've seen with the L6 and the 32-bit floating point and its recording functionalities, that could be possibly the best compact mixer on the market, at least in my opinion. Polyend was an absolute highlight for me. Not only did I get to speak to two of their representatives at the booth for quite a bit about my own trackers and some questions I've had about my own setup, but also they showed off some really great new products. Of course, the Mess, which is a multi-effects pedal with a step sequencing functionality built in, looks great. I didn't get a chance to try it at the time I was there, but I really want to check one of those out because aesthetically and functionality and feature set wise, it seems like a great pedal. The two reps I got to speak to were really helpful, really good laugh as well, and it was just good fun seeing that booth. They're really, really knowledgeable about their product and really good for telling you what's coming next as well. They were showing off a new controller that's been prototyped by someone in their community for the Tracker Mini. So it's like a keys controller that plugs into the jacks on the bottom. Now we're going to go for a speed run for these last ones because there's way too much to really give detail on everything. PWM showing off the Mantis and the Malevolent, still two of my absolute favourite physical synths. Love them. Nord had the Stage 4, incredible keybed on that. Sounded great and played great as well. Clactronics with their DIY modular book. It was great to see that represented. It was just great to see the attention that was getting. AFK, Away From Keyboard, demoing their drum pads, again, the MIDI drum bar. A great product. They were there last year, and it was great to see some buzz around that again. There was, of course, a lot of great modular stuff, some really great and really impressive looking Eurorack modules. One that really stood out to me was the Clavis. They had the Terminal 4, which is a quad VCA, LPG, and envelope generator. When I say quad, I mean 4 of each of those. It's digital, so they were able to cram a lot into that module, and it looked great too. In fact, the uniformity across all their modules looks fantastic on display. And their modules are coming soon to VCV Rack. So if you're a VCV Rack user, keep an eye out for that one. Those are coming soon. There was a bunch of great pro audio gear on display, from Telefunken mics to outboard gear, some desk elements, controllers, really great stuff on that front. Too much to include in this video, but if you're into pro audio, Superbooth is still worth a visit, just for that bit upstairs. Back to modular, something I forgot to mention as well was Heinbach's module. I got to spend a bit of time with that. That is really impressive. And the cushion looks pretty great as well. Back to synths a little bit, there was the Berlin Synth Museum. They had a great little display of the things they've got in the museum on site. We did visit the museum before Superbooth. I'm actually going to be doing a video based around that very soon as well. It's a great thing to experience if you're into synthesizers. If you're going to Superbooth, go and visit the Berlin Synth Museum. Next up, you've got to mention the performances. The dope first stage and then some of the other things further down in the tents. So much variety of music you'll hear throughout the event. Some really great performances. It's something you have to pay attention to while you're there as well, because you'll definitely hear something really great throughout the day. And finally, it's bumping into other people, whether it be speaking to people at booths. I'm a big fan of the Tangible Waves booth, a Modular booth. And it was great to speak to all those guys. But also, there's YouTubers, there's other musicians. Meeting Anthony Marinelli, who's done some fantastic work over his career. It was great to chat to him. Bo Beats, Jorb, Heinbach, Cuckoo. All these guys were great to meet. And I did get a chance to ask them a question about bass lines for a video that's maybe not out at the time you're seeing this, but will be out soon. So keep an eye out for that one. It was great to meet everyone. Thank you to everyone again who took part in that video, who demoed for me, who did little chats and allowed me to take pictures at the booth, because that's what makes a video like this possible. And a special thanks again to the guys from the Tangible Waves booth, because that honestly was great to see so much going on there and to get some really great chats on camera and off camera. So thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did go and there was anything you saw that you wanted to leave your thoughts about in the comments, please do it. If you've got any questions about something I've mentioned, please leave that below as well. I'd love to chat about Superbooth with you all. If you did enjoy this, please hit like, subscribe, all that usual stuff people ask for. I have my music on Bandcamp, YouTube, and some streaming sites under Gavin Forbes Music. And on Instagram, I do all my updates on content, music, gigs, things like that. Also Gavin Forbes Music. Hope you enjoyed this. And thanks again for watching. Until next time, keep working on those bass faces.